I request you all to be silent.
The guest is about to arrive.
Good morning, everyone. We have all gathered here for the National Level Congress on Role of Higher Educational Institutions in SDGs, organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell, IQAC, and Career Development Center, CDC, of KPR College of Arts, Science and Research. I welcome you all for the session 10 on Responsibility of Stakeholders in SDGs. Prayer with faith is powerful and effective. I now invite Abhirami Titi of 3rd BCom B&I to sing a prayer song. Let's raise up for the prayer song.
महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि वसिष्ठवामदेवातिवन्दित महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं मारकोडि प्रकाशं शान्तं मारकोडि प्रकाशं शान्तं महाकाव्यनाटकिडिप्रियं महाकाव्यनाटकिडिप्रियमोषिगवागनमोदकप्रियं महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि वसिष्ठवामदेवातिवन्दित. Thank you.
Kindly be seated. Now it's time to take a look on SDG Congress AV. untold stories are more beautiful when it's visionary and expressive. Now let's take a look on a short AV about our respected chief guest.
Professor R.K. Singh was Head and Dean Faculty of Commerce and Business, the largest faculty of Delhi University. Academic with rich experience, has made valuable contributions to writings for national and international journals published by Routledge, Taylor and Francis, Springer, Emerald, etc. in the broad domain of managing human resources with a focus on effectiveness and spirituality. He has been the editor of Business Analyst, now on editorial board and reviewers, panel of international journals like Business Ethics, Management Decision, Journal of Organizational Change Management, International Journal of Organizational Analysis, Journal of Applied Research in Higher Education, etc. In addition to a fusion of qualitative and quantitative, he has more than 30 years of experience in academics and corporate training and consultancy. He has held various positions of responsibility, including chairman of governing body of Bharati College, University of Delhi, Member Academic Council of Mahatma Gandhi, International Hindi Central University, Maharashtra, Member of the Academic Council of Manav Rachna University, Haryana, and Lucknow University, Uttar Pradesh, Madhav Institute of Technology, Gwalior. In addition, he is a member of governing body Narsi Monji College of Commerce and Economics, Mumbai, and SIES College of Commerce and Economics, Mumbai. He is a member of a board of studies of various institutions like Pondicherry Central University, IGNOU, Sikkim University, SRM University, GD, Goenka University, SGT University, etc. He is an expert panel member of University Grants Commission, Ministry of Education, Government of India. As corporate trainer, Dr. Singh has successfully headed various training programs in India's leading organizations like Vedanta, Balco, Forest Research Institute, Defense Research Development Organization, Punjab Police Indian Institute of Public Administration, Edison Technologies, National Hydropower Corporation, Steel Authority of India Limited, Gas Authority of India Limited, Indian Farmers Fertilizers Cooperative, JK Cement Limited, Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay, National Academy of Social Security, BMAT, etc. His contributions as a trainer have been well acknowledged and appreciated. His interventions at corporate have won accolades among HR practitioners. On behalf of KPR College of Arts, Science and Research, we are so proud to welcome you, sir. Students, now let's put our hands together for our eminent chief guest.
I now request the dignitaries to occupy the dais. To such a degree, warm words has an ability to brighten the event. I may now invite Abhirami Titi of 3rd BCom B&I to welcome the gathering.
To a new day, a new morning, positive thoughts and prayers. A very good morning to one and all gathered here. On this intellectually inspired occasion, I would like to welcome you all for this program. I gladly welcome everyone this morning, which is filled with the desires, hopes, and dreams we all share. I would like to welcome Dr. R.K. Singh, Professor, Department of Commerce, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. Your presence will surely make this program a thriving one. The essence of great leadership is influence and not authority. With this note, I would like to extend my welcome to Dr. P. Geeta, Principal of KPR CAS, for reinforcing this session. One who puts their soul and heart in uplifting others attains dignity. Yes, I would like to welcome Dr. S. Balusamy, Chief Executive of KPR CAS, a vibrant personality behind all endeavors of KPR CAS. I also welcome the program coordinators, Dr. K. Pradeepa, Head IQSE, and Mr. Anand Prabhu, Placement Officer. It is also my great delight in welcoming Dean of Commerce, Dean of Computer Science, and various heads, members of faculty, and my dear fellow students. Once again, I welcome everyone to this program. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhirami, for your warm welcome. Honor may not win power, but it wins respect, and respect earns power. I now request Dr. S. Balusamy, Chief Executive of KPR CAS, to honor our chief guest with the shawl. one who ignites the power of motivation, lights the lamp of inspiration, leads the path of success as direction. He's none other than but our chief guest. I'm so proud to invite R.K. Singh, Professor, Department of Commerce, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi, to take over this session.
Good morning. Respected Chief Executive Officer, Professor Balu Sami Saheb, Principal Dr. Geeta, Dr. Kumuda, who initiated interaction with me a few months back, Dean Commerce, Dean Computer Science, esteemed faculty colleagues, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I'm zapped, surprised, and astonished to see my own videos. And for that, as principal told me that the students, they have been very effortful. So my compliments to students. And I will request them to give me the link of my own videos so that I could see that how at the end I do. When Professor Balusamy approached me that there is a Congress and asked me to be here, and before that, when they were there at the school to have a brief interaction, I could see that roughly 2,600 kilometers far from Delhi, there is academic institution which is wriggling to understand the nuances and dynamics of academics much above and ahead of what majority of academic institutions are doing. My compliments to KPR institution. These academic deliberations apparently in short run don't appear to be making much contribution to teaching and learning. But in long run, the values which they create, build in students, that is eternal. And visualizing such occasions, creating such occasions, that speaks very high about this institution. Again, my compliments. You can put your hands together. When it was compliments to students, all students, they went for clapping. But when it came to management, then they were keeping silent. On a lighter note, I'm happy to be the part of this Congress, and Good that institution has thought to see that what is role of higher education institutions in sustainable development goals. Today is the fifth and the last day, and 10 preceding speakers might have given you enough food for thought that what SDGs are. Just to reiterate that roughly 10 years back in 2012 at Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, United Nations visualized that there should be sustainability as an agenda for 2030, 18 years hence, and gave 17 goals. The fourth, which talks about education and talks about quality education, with a focus that education must be made accessible to all, having element of lifelong learning, creating its own spectrum of equitability. There is no doubt that without thinking about sustainability, there is no possibility of survival in long run. To look at different aspects and see that what stakeholders should do to achieve SDGs, I thought to take up issues one by one. Before that, my disclaimer is that as such, I don't work in the area of sustainability. So these are my own reflections about education and sustainable development goals. May appear to be vague at times, which you have to bear. The first issue comes is of sustainability. What sustainability is? Sustainability to me is something which is long-lasting. Sustainability which is something eternal, which needs to exist for a very long time. And if someone is talking about this, be it United Nations or we, the idea is very good. But as an academic, when I look at the definition of the popular definition of the sustainability, it says that sustainability means we should go for consuming what the resources are available to us today, and we should leave it intact for future generations. This somehow I'm not able to digest. If sustainability is consumption based, then I think it is not sustainability. Because the consumption of ours is largely, I'm sorry, using harsh word, is greed-based, not need-based. And the greed is supply-side greed. I give a very small example. 3 years back, I bought a smartphone. I changed my smartphone. I bought high-end smartphone 3 years back. It is giving me all possible utilities, catering my needs. But my kids are after my life since last 1 year that this phone is old. I should change it. New phones have come with better features. And I keep on asking them that whatever the new features have been added, are those features going to improve my effectiveness, my teachingness. So they said, oh, no. Don't think like this. As this phone is old, therefore you should go for changing. So if I go for changing my phone and still talk about sustainability, this needs to be deliberated upon. The consumption, if it is there to serve me what I need, not out of my greed, it will remain sustainable without talking about sustainability. The second issue comes is development. It is development that in 2.5 hours' time, I could travel a distance of more than 2,500 kilometers from Delhi to Coimbatore. More connectivity, more mobility, better access, more roads, more concretized houses, more options, better standard of living, more production, more per capita income. These are the markers of development. And if I look at these developmental parameters, then I find that in order to achieve these parameters of development, we are consuming, if it is derogatory, we are using available, limited natural resources. If roads are to be constructed, then a mutually exclusive dialectics we are creating. The roads are constructed on arable agricultural land. So the land accessible to the agriculture is less, and the land available to us for traveling is more. If I could travel in 2.5 hours' time, distance more than 2,500 kilometers, more flights are available. Therefore, it is talking about more emission. If I have to construct or depart from my clay house, which is very ethnic, very soothing, very close to nature, to get it converted into pakka concretized house using more cements, so my house is going to create more unsustainable emissions. If I'm constructing roads and creating better mobility network, be it railways, other means of surface transport and civil aviation, then I'm creating a matrix where there would be migration of labor from less developed place to more developed place. One estimate, rough estimate, speaks about that in Delhi, on an average, every day, 1,857 people come to get settled down in Delhi. Take it 1,800. So on an average, monthly, 50,000 people come to get settled down in Delhi. So annually it is 6 lakh. If 6 lakh people are added to the population, permanent population of Delhi, what kind of a sustainable development model we will have? That every year you create infrastructure which will accommodate 6 lakh people and provide them good living. Therefore, this model of development which is discursive product of World War II, which is based on largely economic thinking, that the development is to be measured in terms of economic development. And the parameters of economic development, just now I mentioned, and it is this economic development which will result into reduction of the poverty, which is the hinge, the pivot on which the SDGs are based. So to me it appears that this economic development for a reduction of the poverty is creating its own tautology. Tautology is that you create a statement and make the premise so that the statement becomes true. For example, if I say that commerce is a discipline which is highest in demand, this is the statement I'm making, assertion I'm making. And then I say that I have taken a student of KPR college is from commerce stream, therefore that student is highest in demand. This is tautology. The premise which for the development which I have created, that the premise is making me to see things with that lens, colored lens. I will not go much into development now. The third aspect of your interaction is education. What education is for. In the morning before we could start today's session, your CEO took me to principal's office that there is the beginning of the day offering a prayer. I liked it. This appears to be more sustainable. The green campus appears to be more sustainable. So education's job is to broaden the horizon. Education's objective is what Mahatma Gandhi used to say, is to empower you so that you are able to relate yourself with the context. You are able to contextualize yourself. Education's job is to give us a feeling of liberation. Liberation from what has got fixated in us. And in Vishnu Puran it is said that tat karma yatana bandhaya sa vidya ya vimuktaye ayasaya aparam karma vidya anya shilp naipunam. Meaning thereby, the effort is that which creates no attachment. It is creating its own boundlessness. And education is one which gives us liberating effect. Other than this, whatever is activity effort we are engaged in, that is mere activity, and whatever education we are engaged in, that is mere craftsmanship and building skills. So if education is to be made sustainable, then there is a need to create liberating experience so that whatever had got fixated in me, that must liquidify. And it should be continuously I am able to see reflecting, deliberating, and reaching to the next level. That I never reach to the point of complacency where I say that enough I have received. So if education is to create a liberating effect, sa vidya ya vimuktaye, then education has to go for not accepting the way sustainable development goals are appearing. Education should not go for having the received perspective of sustainable development goals. On a lighter note, I was seeing that where all S, D, and Gs are placed there on your keyboard, systems keyboard. And I found that all S, D, and G are there in one row, the second row where alphabets are mentioned. And S and D are together. And before G, after D, there is one key, one which is separating D from G. That is F. That is failure. So if education will have the received perspective of sustainable development goals, that UN has said that there should be sustainability, or government is saying that there should be sustainability, it will not remain sustainable. Because sustainability for me is not in activities. Sustainability for me is not that I will teach a course on sustainability, on environment, and sensitize myself and my students and make change there in the curriculum. This will make me to achieve sustainable development goals. No. So what is required? Required is that you create sustainability appreciating mindset, a psyche appreciating sustainable development goals. And for creation of that mindset and the psychology, there is need not to become sustainable. There is a need to be sustainable. And there is a difference between becoming sustainable and being sustainable. When you be sustainable, it is something like that you are made to look at your own image. Suppose if there is a group photograph, whose image you see first? Any one of you? Who? Yes? If there is a good group photograph where you are there, whose photo you will see first? Yours. So, are you able to see your image there in the group photograph of Sustainable Development Goals? Who rest are there in that group photograph doesn't matter. You keep on looking at from the different angles. So sustainable development goal, as long as it will become the part of activity, you will create a sense of otherness. That somebody else has said, your teacher has said, government has said, UN has said, the other countries and platforms and institutions they have said. And this will not make education to achieve SDGs. There is a great scholar working in the domain of education, Weasley. He says that the present education emphasizes more on theory and less on values, more on concepts and less on humans, more on abstractions and less on consciousness, more on finding out the answers and less on articulation of the questions. So if this is the state of education all across, I've seen different parts of the geography, all across this what education is for, and particularly in this country. So their sustainability will remain a rhetoric until and unless education goes for creating some meaningful discourse where education itself is start acting as a deterrent for unsustainability. Because in present times, education may give good degree, but is not able to provide decency, is not able to provide wisdom, is not able to provide prudence. I often see on highways or in cities people coming from the wrong direction, driving their car or bike or whatsoever. And when you point out, they stare at you as if you are committing a crime, asking them that follow the rules of the traffic. And they're all educated people. So education as such is not making them to understand and appreciate that what is importance of following a small traffic rule that move there in right direction. So if this is the mindset what we are creating through our education, talking about achieving sustainable development goals, that will remain as daydreaming. Because in present education, what UN's Charter speaks about for Sustainable Development Goals of Education SDG 4 is talking about more literacy, more gross enrollment ratio. Countries' growth is measured on the basis of gross enrollment ratio. Talks about gender parity, talks about attrition, talks about teachers' vacancies, talks about attendance. In this whole process, education is more seen as an activity and less as a process. And I use harsher words for myself, that as an academic, I have become a better event manager. Event manager of managing event of admissions, managing event of classes, managing event of attendance, managing events of internals, managing event of examinations, and managing event of granting degrees to the students. And in this whole process, the joy, the pleasure, the happiness, the anand, what students should have derived in so many sojourns there in the journey, that is not part of my teaching agenda. When I'm traveling, I'm more anxious to reach to the destination and less to enjoy the beauty which is there on the way. If we will not create the mindset, we would be made to appreciate that what is in and around and how to integrate it and assimilate in our living, sustainability will not be achieved. There is another scholar who talks about education, Margaret Mead. Margaret Mead used to say that there are 3 levels of education: the proto, the deutero, and tertiary. The proto level of education is to help you identify the pattern. The deutero level of education is to make you to cultivate a behavior. And the tertiary level of education is to make you have the habits of not having any habits. Meaning thereby that to give you enough food for thought, not particular skill, but the knowledge, wisdom, so that whatever exigency, whatever situation comes, you are able to address it. Not to teach you that how balance sheet needs to be prepared, but to teach you that how to go for looking at the balance sheet of life. The commerce students are sitting here, commerce faculty members are there. We teach how to prepare balance sheet, and the basic principle of preparing the balance sheet is that in balance sheet there are 2 sides, assets and liabilities, and the assets will match liabilities. And as long as the assets are not matching the liability, your sum is not solved. And the students are very happy solving the sums of what is given there in the accounting books. But I see that with this knowledge, with this skill, that the balance sheet has a balancing assets and the liability side. When I go there in my life and I prepare the balance sheet of my life where the liabilities are not matching the assets. So was that gyan, the skill which was taught to me in my undergraduate days, that was wrong, or something wrongness I have built in due course of time? So David Orr, he talks about a couple of myths about the present education. And he says that education which thinks that there is enough knowledge and the technology we have to manage the planet. He said that this is a myth. Because the education, the development, and all discourses related to education, the development, they are very anthropocenic. Anthropocenic means where you are keeping human there in the center. And in and around the human, all developmental activities, all educational activities, all so-called sustainable activities, you are weaving. So with the human there in the center, nature at a distance, achieving sustainability, which would be eternal, that will remain a written discourse or maybe part of such kind of the deliberation, which will remain unachievable. So education has to realize that whatever the knowledge and the technology you have, that is not sufficient to manage this planet Earth. And particularly this technology. My understanding about the technology, that technology is a tailor-made science which is developed for catering the unfulfilled needs of the society. And technology in present times is making its daunting presence in every walk of life. And hardly it is possible, at least to think of, that there would be a life without technology. And if I look at the clusters, there are 3 clusters where the technology is making its presence. That is physical world, the digital world, and the biological world. The physical world, where the technology is making 3D printers, inventing new materials like graphene, which is 200 times stronger than steel. 3D printers that we know don't need in times to come any molding to produce anything. You just create a design in the computer and it would be printing for you, it would be manufacturing for you. You are creating sensors, you are creating in digital domain, Internet of Things, Internet of everything. One of the scholar who is working in this domain of technology, Brelanfi, McAfee, they have authored together a book, Second Machine Age. There they mention that in times to come, it has been started, in times to come, in every car, your tire would be fitted with a chip, which will keep a record of your driving. And every time that chip would be passing information to your insurance company. So next time when you will go for getting your car insurance reinsured, your premium may increase depending upon or decrease depending upon what kind of the driver you are. This is Internet of everything. LG has manufactured, it has a fridge which is fitted with internet. So you need not to bother that how to replenish things there in your fridge. You just feed there in your refrigerator that how many different vegetables you want, how many loaf of bread you want, how many eggs you want, and as and when you will take out 3 pieces of bread or 2 eggs or half a kg of your brinjal. So the fridge itself will place the order to the grocer that these things have been taken out of the refrigerator, and the grocer will send delivery to you. And the third domain, that is biology, where synthetic biology people are working on. They are tweaking with the DNAs, resequencing the DNAs. China has produced the first designer baby. The Chinese first designer baby, all through the life, would be completely free from all ailments, whatever is there in our cognition as of now. Will never have hypertension, will never have diabetes, will never have heart disease, will never have cancer, will never have TB, will never have whatever disease is there in your mind. Because scientists, they have gone for tweaking with the genes. Technologists working in the area of green engineering are working on the model that today they find that this sun is giving the scorching heat. So they will say that, no, sun, please stop. We don't want this much sunlight. They will modulate. So only limited rays will come. We are talking about that the glaciers are melting. So they will make more snowfall there at the glaciers. With such kind of the technological development and so-called achievement of the education, if we think that we are finding out the solution to the problems, the answer is that we are creating more problems. We are adding to the list of the problems. And what the issue of the sustainability, what we took in 2012, this did not start in 2012. It started in the 16th century, when we had the first industrial revolution, and we thought to have the steam engines for increasing the production. If the time permits, I'll be talking about that later. The second myth about education is that increase in knowledge is actually increasing human goodness. This also needs to be thought of and challenged. With the construction of the roads and better network mobility, when the labor is migrating from villages, or educated lot is migrating from villages to cities, it is not only creating a pressure on cities, deserting the rural areas, this is creating another issue, that we are not made to appreciate what used to be our aboriginal. Because in cities there is multiplicity, there is hybrid culture. What in the purest form is there in the villages, in the rural areas. But with this migration, we find that the purity in times to come would be contaminated. So we will forget how to prepare idlis, how to prepare dosas. Today it appears to be very fantasy, but the other day I was there at Pondicherry, and I saw youngsters. For 3-4 days I was there, and going to the in and around Pondicherry, going to even Kumbhakonam, and I found the youngsters, the tourists, all of them, they were having the non-South Indian dishes. And I was telling to my wife that look at them, that they have no appreciation for their own dish. So what they were taking? Chow mein. And fusion of the chow mein, pizza dosa, chow mein dosa. They have a different regimen. This appears to be a very smallish example, but this is talking very high. The long-term impact of this. The food is created to cater the local needs. If Italians, they add cheese in their dishes because the environment, the context, there permits to have cheese. But if we add cheese, the context and environment doesn't permit. And this such kind of the fusion, tomorrow you try, you add cheese there in your sambar and tell me that what the taste is. Therefore, with the loss of that what the natural flavor of the things is, this so-called development in times to come will create a lot of issues. And one sustainable example I'll give you, there is a place in Rajasthan. Is there an issue? There is a place in Rajasthan, it is called as Tilonia. Today you go on the net and search Barefoot College. There is a professor, Bankar Roy, in 1980s, he created this college. He has given a TED talk. In 1980, Bankar Roy constructed a building using native, local, very primitive knowledge. Has not used any cement, has not used any sand. Sorry. But what was created in 1980 using cow dung and jaggery and lime, no drop has come of water from the roof. And in that TED talk, Bankar says that there is illiterate woman who is dentist of Tilonia. She has no degree of dentistry, but she is wise old woman, understands that how the teeth and gums are to be kept healthy. Are we creating such kind of educational models where we are able to connect with what is happening around? The third myth what we talk about is this education can adequately restore what we have dismantled. So as something has gone wrong because of our wrongdoings, not today, long back, we can go for correcting it. That needs to be revisited. Because everything is not there in our hands. And this education which is more individualized, which is making you to see your education as subjects, not creating interconnection, that will, to me, it appears very interrogative that such kind of system will help us to address the concerns of SDGs. Whose class is this, beta? You. Whose class is this? Batao? Any one of you? Yeah. Any one of you, please. Yeah. Yes, please stand up. Speak. Whose class is this? This is IT's class. Whose class is this? You. Any one of you, don't afraid. It is IT class or data analytics class or computer science class or accounting class. When this class will become yours? This what education is doing. If a teacher is there in the class, you can. If you want to clap. Okay. When teacher is there in the class, when Dr. Kumuda is there in the class, and it is asked, whose class is this? So you say, Kumuda ma'am's class. So I often ask this question to my students also. And they said, this is R.K. Singh's class. I said that when it will become our class on this topic, if we create, and I'm not saying that it is wrong, that you are wrong, no. We create such context where we see our education, education for accounting, education for IT, education for management, education for business organization, not talking about the education, the holistic education. The holisticity we talk there in the books. We teach as a concept, but not able to practice it. The next myth is that this education is giving us means for upward mobility. Education is making successful people. And success, just now I mentioned that what is parameter of the success in the development. But I think the education of today, if it has to be successful, does not need successful people. If it wants to achieve sustainable, it has to be have presence of storytellers, peacemakers, healers, who can go for telling you that what is the role of having gossiping. As in the city living, there is huge contribution of wasteland. So there is a huge contribution of gossiping. But that is not part of our educational curricula. That needs to be thought of. Can there be a possibility that India is there at peace, but Tamil Nadu is having unrest? Mizoram is having the problem, but India is celebrating G20 presidency. India is doing great, but the Manipur is in shambles. Can this be possible? Answer is no. So if education as such will not have integrated approach and bring solace, harmony, peace, balance in itself, talking about achieving sustainability and the balance between earth and the atmosphere, it may be a fashionable, a smoking pipe discussion, which appears to be very fancy, very romantic, much away from what the reality is. So first there is a need that strike a balance here. Let there be holistic education. The next myth is that the present culture, we are cultured people because we are so-called well-dressed. What we have achieved has made us to reach to the pinnacle. To me, as a student of human resources, culture has three aspects. Culture is like lotus flower, which has three components. One, that is the flower which is visible, attracting the attention, has a fragrance. The other, the stem, which is holding the flower, half above the water and more than that beneath the water. And then the roots and shoots which are below the water. So this flower of the lotus is artifacts, man-made creations, as you have created this hall, as you have created this institution, as you have made the lighting arrangements, as you have made the sitting arrangements, as you have created this podium. This is artifact. The second part, that the stem which is above the water, are the espoused values, the values which are learnt in a given context. And the third, the roots and shoots of that lotus flower, which is not seen, but giving nourishment to the flower to remain visible and attract and have the fragrance, are the basic assumptions and the beliefs. If education has to be sustainable, so this flower itself will not cater there is a need to change the spouse values, and there is a need to rewrite the assumptions. So therefore, the cultural codes needs to be rewritten. But the present culture, what we have created, the culture of capitalism. Everything has become capital intensive. Technology apparently gives us a wrong notion that our efficiency is increasing. There is a scholar, Klaus Schwab, who is the founder of World Economic Forum, the chairperson of the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab's research says that the technology has gone for improving the efficiency, but efficiency of the machines. And the total factor productivity of labor is continuously on decline. So with the declining total factor productivity of labor, the culture which we are creating where that machine and the humans, they are going to be there in the loggerheads, which kind of harmony we are thinking of, which kind of the sustainable development goals we are talking about. Capitalism has gone for creating a lot of production, but is not able to distribute it equally, which is one of the hinges of SDG 4. This capitalism, the technological development per se, is creating more number of billionaires and more number of people falling in the category of have-nots, not able to arrange 2 square meals. If you want to read further, you can refer World Inequality Report. You will come across how the threatening situation is. So, capitalism, which is more money-making, more machine-efficient system, is not giving you any lesson of morality, which should be there in order to understand the softer issue of sustainability. So it appears that the present education system, which is more linear, based on the Cartesian logics, is not able to understand the cascading effect of our own doings, transcending the space and time. And I will narrate a story for you from Mahabharata. Mahabharata, a great epic, was written 1,000 years back. You must be knowing that, even if you have not read that, there was one side of Pandavas, the other side of the Kauravas. And there was a fight between the Pandavas and the Kauravas that who will have the reign of that dynasty, Hastinapur. And it was decided to divide Hastinapur into 2 parts. So what was already having so-called development in the culture, the Indraprasth, that was retained. Thank you so much. That was retained by, this is coffee, black coffee, without sugar. Okay. So, what was the developed part of the geography that was retained by Kauravas as Indraprasth? And what was the bare land? What was full of forest? That Khandoprasth, that was given to Pandavas. And in order to make Khandoprasth habitable, Lord Krishna said that you have to cut the forest, the trees, but cutting the dense trees is not possible. So what you do, you set the forest on fire. So they set the forest on fire in order to build civilization, in order to make it habitable, in order to make it livable. So what they did 1,000 years back, burning forest, during that burning, what happened, that a family of the snakes disappeared, got burnt in that fire. And year after year, generation after generation, that family of the snakes kept on chasing Pandavas to kill them. One of the snakes, the king of the snakes family, Nagas, Ashwasen, he tried to kill Arjuna. He failed. Then his friend, Arjuna, Pandavas, they were not killed by snake bite. The next generation, they were also not killed. But the next to next, that is Parikshit, the son of Abhimanyu, after maybe 100 years, because for 36 years, Pandavas, they kept on ruling after this Kurukshetra war. Maybe after 100 years, exact year I don't know, Parikshit was bitten by a snake, Takshak. When I see that what mistake Pandavas did in order to make Khandavprastha habitable, the brunt of that was borne by the Pandavas' grandson Parikshit. So what we are doing today, it is not going to impact our life today. This is going to create miseries in times to come. Centuries will go for bearing the brunt of that. So therefore, there is a need to revisit the entire schema of education, where stakeholders have to think that how to create a matrix which is not based on teaching a subject, which is based on teaching a student, where curriculum is not content, where curriculum is creating a meaningful engagement there in the class. We were talking about the PhD classes there at Delhi School of Economics and Department of Commerce, that few thousand students, they apply and we take 10, 20. And the class duration is 4 hours. 4 hours at a stretch, 2 to 6 Thursday, every Thursday. Yesterday it was a Ram Navami gazetted holiday. That is why I chose to come. 2 of the teachers, me and another professor, 2 of us for 4 hours, both of us are there in the class. Both of us are not teaching. One of them is teaching, but we will remain. So it is not that what we are teaching to the students, every faculty, me is being audited by my colleague and my colleague is being audited by me. So it is not that I have to go and talk something to my students. I have to make sense to my colleague who is equally competent. And with this, teaching the humans, teaching the students, we find that our engagements, our classes, the quality of our classes, that has gone up. So there is a need to rewrite the educational codes in terms of making it more right-based, capability-based, and liberty-based, where we talk more about what is right, what is wrong, what is rights, what duties are, and removing the cap which is there on the abilities, that building about the capability. And talking about that education will not only talk about what others are saying. Education will go for building a thinking perspective, will create a reflective perspective where this is SDGs would be part of our agenda, our thinking, our mental models. Not that we will go for taking it as separate exclusive course or the paper, value-added course or the core or discipline specific. And some of the universities across the globe, they are doing it. One of them is University of Pretoria, which has gone for keeping the food security as agenda of the focal agenda of their research. University of Fahad, Sudan, which is talking about keeping their academics and the research focused on women empowerment so that their researchers can go for giving that how women could be handed over the leadership role, leadership charge in times to come. University of Auckland, New Zealand, which talks about that how terrestrial ecosystem be brought there in their classes. And University of Sao Paulo, Brazil, talks about that how we can make our research agenda as the removal of the poverty. Creating courses, all courses. It is not commerce. It is not business. It is not anthropology. It is not environment. All courses are focusing on these issues which they have adopted as the focal agenda. So therefore, there is a need that instead of talking about SDGs separately, we start communicating with sustainable development goals in our education system so that we embed, we become, we be, we understand, we start living sustainability. And for that, there is a need that it is not only curriculum, it is not only infrastructure, we have to focus more on the process of the delivery and the process of receiving, where the students would be there, kept there in the center, and what is required, that through the flip classroom interaction, that we will go for delivering, making it the part of the process, not as a part of the product. And another way to look at that how stakeholders can go for bringing this SDGs as their frontal agenda of the education, that responsibility of the education is to make the recipient to think that what is the use of this so-called knowledge or the skill which I'm giving to you. Often I ask my students that business maths is taught to you, how you are going to use business maths there in your real life. So they say that we are using business maths to pass business maths course because it is given there in the curriculum, and which is there true with majority of the courses. When you go there in the second semester, what was taught there in the first semester, 60% of things you have forgotten. And when you reach to the final semester, you have only thing remember that where you would be placed and when you are going to get the degree. So with the fragmented approach, the process is not there as a frontal agenda of the education. We keep on seeing only what is there in the present, and the sustainability is talking about future. So with the agenda of the present, thinking to achieve something there in the future, this is not going to be addressed. Because if you have to address the future concerns, you have to be futuristic. And what Acharya Chanakya speaks about education and looking at the holistic development, he says that sukhasya moolam dharma, dharmasya moolam artha, arthasya moolam rajyam, rajyasya moolam vinayam, vinayasya moolam vruddhopaseva, vruddhasevaya vijnanam, vijnanena atmanam sampadayet, sampaditatma jitatma bhavati, jitatma sarvarthe sanjayet. Meaning thereby, the root of the pleasure lies there in the action. The root of the action is there in the estate. The estate is the giver of the wealth, equitable wealth. And for attaining this wealth, the people, they have to go to enlightened souls to receive education. And from that education comes humility. And from that humility, there is a realization that what my do's and don'ts are. And from the realization of the do's and don'ts, I go for conquering the world. If this is the focus of education, the ancient education, and we make it the part of our present education, then sustainability automatically will become the part of our agenda and our thinking. The third thing, what stakeholders should keep in mind, that apart from that, what I'm going to use it, that how it is going to impact the real man. How it is going to impact me and my fellow beings. How it is going to impact my family. Majority of our engagements we are deriving from, through and with mobile phones. Either we are occupied somewhere, if not, then we are occupied with mobile phones. If the more and more feeds are coming to us through mobile phones, the moment this interaction is over, you first thing you will do that you will open your mobile phone and see if somebody has messaged or not. If some message has not come for last 1 hour, then you start thinking, oh, I'm so unlovable to others that they have not sent me the message, or there is no signal in my mobile phone, so let me switch it off, switch it on. When I upload this on Insta and Facebook and this is not there, I feel low, that the people are not liking me. I go depressed. So if my engagement is there with the mobile phone, and every time seeking the feeders through Spotify and Ghana and Amazon Music, where is time for reflection? And if the reflection is not part of the agenda of the education, then the sustainability will remain as a deliberation. So therefore, there is a need to stop. There is a need to not get bogged down what others are saying. There is a need to have a consonance between teaching, research, community engagement, and campus operations. There is a need to, there is one study of Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum. It says that the 10 skills which the students of the present generation must have, and the first of them is critical thinking. But the entire education is very conformist. It makes us to reproduce what is given, what is taught there in the classes. So with a conformist mindset, criticality will not come. Criticality will come when I will stop and make my students to think back, make my students to mull over, make my students to put hands together and create a newer reality. And for that, I buy the last quote from the Shanti part, which is done there in the Hindu rituals at the end of all the prayers and offerings, all yajnas. That the Shanti part says that Om Dyau Shantarik Shantihi, Rantariksha Shantihi, Prithvi Shantihi, Rapaha Shantihi, Roshadhaya Shantihi, Vanaspataya Shantihi, Vishwadevaha Shantihi, Brahma Shanti, meaning thereby that let there be symbiotic relationship between me, earth, water, sky, flora and fauna, and what is there in and around as animate and inanimate. But as a stakeholder of education, I am not able to create this symbiotic relationship. I am looking at the course. I am looking at how degree could be granted. With this, the education will not be able to reach its last goal to remain sustainable. Education will remain an event. And if this event is to be converted into process, there is a need to stop, to me also to stop, and to reflect, look back, and create a new reality. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to be with you. Thanks to organizers, your CEO, Dr. Kumuda, and other management members. And thanks to audience for giving a patience listening. Thank you so much. If any clarification or the question which lingers in your mind, I'm here to take it up. Any one of you? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for furnishing us with various knowledge and wisdom. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds. Let's embrace the brilliant star for gracing us with delight and cherishing this day in every possible way. I may now call upon Janavarshini of 2nd BCom PA to propose the vote of thanks.
A warm, astonishing afternoon to everyone. I stand here today as a grateful student to express my heartfelt thanks to all those who have made this event possible. A special thank to our chief guest, Dr. R.K. Singh, Professor, Department of Commerce, Delhi School of Commerce, University of Delhi, who spared a valuable time from his busy schedule to grace this occasion. Today, we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely be going to encourage us in our future events. Next, I would like to thank Dr. P. Geeta, Principal, KPICAS, who has been our guiding lights to make this event successful. I extend my gratitude to Dr. S. Balasamy sir, Chief Executive, KPICAS, for being the catalyst to our best and standing as a pillar of strength. I also thank the coordinators, Dr. Pradeepa, Head IQAC, and Mr. Anand Prabhu, Placement Officer, for organizing such an event with eminent personalities. Extending my gratitude to the Dean of Commerce, Dean of Computing Science, Head of various departments and member of faculties for constant support and participation. Last but not least, I thank my dear friends for actively taking part in this occasion and make this event more brighter. Finally, I end up with the quote, "All is well that ends well." Thank you.